actually going to talk about the Great Depression today because I think it's relevant. But what I want to show is that there might be lots of parallels between the Great Depression and what we're going through right now. And if that's true, that's actually quite good news for the US economy. Now there's different ways to do these kinds of trend cycle decompositions. But what I want you to take away is, for 50 years, we thought output in the US economy worked as follows. 2% per year per person, and when it's above trend, it's not above trend for very long. When it's below trend, it's not below trend for very long. And finally, when it is either above trend or below trend, the gaps aren't that big. So that number 4, that means that GDP is 4% above trend. That number -4 means GDP is 4% below trend. What do you see from this graph? Basically, GDP is always, in the previous 50 years, GDP was always within 4% of trend. So the first thing was a stunning collapse of GDP away from its trend, which was related to the financial crisis, but it hasn't caught up. That red bar that you see over there, that's the so-called output gap, or the deviation of output from trend, if trend was continuing to grow at 2% per year per person. The current duration of that output gap is well above 5 years. So it's kind of historically unprecedented. And it shows no sign of returning to zero. So it's going to be much longer than 5 years that we're below trend, if trend is 2% per year per person. And it's enormous. It's 13% below trend, which is that the US is going through another Great Depression. And without the unemployment that we saw in the Great Depression. Why, if history were to repeat itself, and if that same path for output gaps were to unfold today, at least the timing, it means that output gaps will bottom out now. Whoever the next president is, that person's going to take credit for the recovery that we're going to have. And that recovery, if it unfolds a lot like the recovery from the Great Depression, that recovery is going to be robust. It's an unbelievable recovery, but it's the kind of recovery that you need if we're going to return to this trend, red dashed line, if that really is trend. 4.5% per year real GDP growth every year for the next 8 years. Add to that, 2.5% inflation, 3% inflation, you get 7.5% nominal GDP growth. All of a sudden, all of our fiscal problems go away. Everything, all problems we have go away. The government can actually run deficits of 7% of GDP, and the debt to GDP ratio will shrink. How's Wisconsin doing? We all live in Wisconsin. It's been claimed that I don't really understand Wisconsin. That's largely true. I moved here from Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. Places in the state that have lots of skilled workers have very low unemployment rates. So this recession income inequality has been widening for 30 years. This recession has just basically made it worse. There's two things that go into job growth in a state. One is, are we going to steal workers from other states? Another one is, are we going to hire our own workers that are slack? Well, to hire our own workers are slack, that basically means we have to hire low-skilled workers again. So if you want lots of job growth in Wisconsin, and if you want high-skilled jobs, you're basically going to have to steal workers from other states.